Hi everybody, welcome back to another week of online learning. Good to be with you as always. So today you have a journal exercise that's posted on Google Classroom, but I wanted to kind of outline and give 3 examples for answers to this question. Please don't use these examples because they're from my story and not from yours, but I would like to just use this as a framework so that way you can have some kind of an understanding of what it is that I'm asking you to do in this storytelling exercise. So again, just as a general overview, what you should be doing is you should be spending about 30 minutes working on this. I recommend listening to music during that time. You don't need to be writing constantly, but you should be spending 30 minutes of focused effort on responding to these questions. First, why so long? Well, I'm asking you to spend 30 minutes not because I want, 3.5 pages of material. I want you to just really get to dive into these questions that I've been offering for you. I think that there's always an opportunity to continue to explore a topic, and I think that that's really the point of today's exercise, is to try and dig deep into what is the real meaning of each of the stories that you're going to be sharing. Now, without further ado, I'd like to give 3 brief stories about times in my life where I've encountered these 3 different principles, these 3 virtues, beauty, truth, and goodness. So my first story is this. When I was young, like in high school, I was able to participate in a program called the Catholic Leadership Institute, which began, in the 1990s and was a 10-day long leadership training program for high school students. While I was in high school, that program was canceled by our diocese, but then eventually restarted by my high school. It was an amazing program. We got to spend 10 days up in the mountains of Estes Park, Colorado, and since then I've been privileged enough to staff it several times. What's so important about this experience? Well, I got to see all of the beauty that Colorado has to offer, the mountains, the valleys, the incredible wildlife, the streams and rivers. It was all just beautiful. One example is that at 4:45, 5 a.m. every morning, if you got up early enough, you could see all of the elk grazing in the fields right in front of our cabin. It was amazing. It was majestic. My favorite part, though, of that entire trip was getting to hike up what was called to Bible Point. It was about a 3-mile hike from the base camp, and it was beautiful. The whole hike passed through all of these different trails that horses would go down. You would see all kinds of different wildlife. It was amazing. But the best part was whenever you got to the top, not just because you were done hiking uphill, but because of what you saw. Out on top of Bible Point, you could see everything around you. You could see all of the different peaks of the mountains. You could see all of the beauty that was there to behold. And I remember just getting to sit on some rocks and some outcroppings and just reflecting on that for about half an hour, just getting to bask in the glory of God's creation. It was amazing because I got to witness, the grandeur that was around me, which helped me to have a better understanding of the grandness, the greatness, the gift that is my own life. To think about all of the wonder that is in these trees and rocks, and to think that there is yet something still even more wonderful in, me and in you. And that was the gift of beauty. Next, I want you to think about hearing or speaking something true. When I was a sophomore in high school, I got to run for Coach Pete Boudreau, and Coach Boudreau won something like 45 state championships in between the disciplines of cross country and track and field. He's one of the winningest high school track and cross country coaches of all time. Why is he so good? Well, he was good at structuring the workouts. He was very attentive to make sure that we would have, at the beginning of our week, after our rest day, we would have a nice up-tempo day, followed by a long run, followed by a tempo day, followed by a long run, followed by a rest day, and then capping off the week with our race. And he was incredibly astute. He was very good at making sure that our tapers were good, so that way, even though we might not be performing well at the middle of the season, we would be really dialed in for our key end-of-the-season races. So he was excellent at that. But what was he really, really good at? Well, he always told us the why of what we were doing each day. Why does this matter? Why is this important? And most importantly, why is today a great day to run? Now, he would always end every meeting with, "It's a great day to run." It wasn't just him trying to convince us of a fact that we all hoped we would encounter. Let's be honest. One day we ran, it was 110 degrees outside with 100% humidity. It was hot, and yet Coach Boudreau, in typical Boudreau fashion, always said it's a great day to run. Now, was he just trying to convince us of what we all thought would be a lie? Well, no. What he was affirming was a deeper truth, that today, just like every other day, is a beautiful and wonderful day to be alive. A great day to go and get after it, to try and exercise, to try and be a part and to utilize the physical bodies that God has gifted us. And most importantly, to encounter the creation that we get to run in. Every day is a great day to be a part of the world and to get to love and serve it. That was the truth that Coach Boudreaux reminded us of each day. Not only affirming, well, the grandness of the world around us, but also the beauty that was within each of us. And finally, what is one thing that I've gotten to do that was good in my life? Well, when I was in college at the University of Notre Dame, I got to work with the Knights of Columbus. So they're not just a bunch of old guys. Actually, my Knights of Columbus chapter was a lot of young people, and it was amazing. And I loved getting to be a part of it. And while I was on the leadership team, we got to raise over $100,000 for charity in a single year. That was over like 6 or 7 home football games for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. It was incredible. We got to give all of that money in profit to different charities across the world. Charities that were struggling with epidemics, or charities that were struggling with disaster relief, or communities within our own city that needed help with sheltering and giving food to the homeless, or providing material goods and training for adults with special needs. It was an amazing thing to get to be a part of, and something that, well, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into, but again, a lot of good came out of it. Our community didn't make any money off of this, but that wasn't the point. The point was to serve everyone around us, to get to give of the able bodies that God has given us as college students, to get to, well, provide a quality service for Notre Dame fans. You know, the steak sandwiches were good, and also to use that money and give it back to the community that we get to be a part of, that we're so blessed here in this world to get to be in. These 3 things, what are called the transcendental virtues of beauty, truth, and goodness, characterize and qualify every story throughout human history. And they're in fact the 3 greatest tools that we can use to tell a good story. The Bible, like we saw on Friday, is full of these transcendental virtues. And so is your story. So I'm going to ask that you spend the next 30 minutes trying to encounter these 3 virtues in your own life and see, well, how far they might go and how much you can unravel. So thanks everybody for tuning in today. Good luck on the exercise. Looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow.